Hello there, and welcome to Dreamy Science. I'm so glad you're here. Maybe the day still lingers in your bones, the quiet hum of screens, the soft weight of unfinished thoughts. But now you're entering something older, something deeper. Tonight, we won't chase answers or follow the clock. We'll drift slowly, layer by layer, into the story written in stone, into the folds of mountains, the silence of caves, the drifting of continents, and the memory held in crystals. Earth's geology is not just rock, it's time, pressure, and patience. A planet reshaping itself from within, volcanoes breathing beneath snow, fossils whispering through sediment, sand dunes dancing like slow oceans, all of it turning, not in hours or days, but in eras. And as you listen, there's nothing to hold on to. No test, no task, just breath, just stillness, just the feeling of being cradled by the earth itself. If these calm explorations help you unwind, if they soften your thoughts or lull you towards sleep, consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It helps more quiet minds find their way here, one sleepy soul at a time. Now, let the crust of the day fall away. Let the mantle quiet your thoughts. Let the core of sleep pull gently from below. Deep beneath your feet, the planet is still exhaling heat from its birth. That warmth rises in slow pulses, shaping continents and stirring the mantle. This hidden warmth is a memory of beginnings, a soft glow from when Earth was new, still forming, still molten, still turning itself into a home. It rises now through deep cracks and shifting boundaries, invisible to us but always present, like a breath that never ends. As you rest on the surface, the crust feels still, but underneath, molten rock flows like slow honey, and heat seeps upward through faults, and folds. In some places, it escapes through volcanic vents or geysers. In others, it remains trapped, pressing upward, shaping mountains, moving oceans, altering time itself. This heat doesn't shout, it whispers, quietly keeping our magnetic field alive, gently stirring the mantle's convection cells and softly shifting tectonic plates over spans too vast for memory. We often think of Earth as solid, but in its depths, it is restless, alive, still becoming, and that warmth, born from collisions and compression and radioactive decay, hums below you even now. It will take billions more years to fade completely. So as you breathe in this moment, imagine the deep breath of the earth beneath you, not dangerous, not urgent, just ongoing, just steady, just the long, slow exhale of a planet at peace with its own pace. Let its warmth hold you. Let it remind you, even the most ancient things are still softening, still flowing, still unfolding beneath the surface of time. Mountains do not rise in a day. They unfold slowly, like breath held in stone, pushing skyward with quiet strength. They begin as whispers in the crust, places where plates meet and press, where force builds silently for millions of years. At first, there is only pressure. Then slowly stone begins to bend. Layer by layer, the surface ripples upward, not like an explosion, but like a sigh, a deep inhalation of land. The Himalayas are still growing now, lifting grain by grain into sky. Even the oldest peaks were once at sea level, born from collision, crumpling upward like slow waves in the lithosphere. These folds of time become ranges, their ridgelines etched by wind and snow, their roots sinking deep into the earth like anchors. And still they move, still they shift, imperceptibly they rise, a few millimeters each year, like breath drawn and never released. These are the earth's lungs, slow and vast. They remind you that change doesn't have to be fast to be profound. You don't have to rush toward anything. You can rise slowly, patiently, with the strength of rock and the softness of air. Let the rhythm of mountains guide your own. Inhale, hold, release. Sleep, too, can arrive like that. Not with noise, but with gravity. Not with effort, but with surrender. Let the peaks fade into silhouettes. Let your thoughts become distant foothills. Tonight, you are parts of this rise, not hurried, not forced, just gently becoming. The continents drift like lily pads on molten currents. The lithosphere floats atop a hidden sea of softened rock. Beneath your feet, the world is more fluid than it seems. Just below the rigid crust lies the asthenosphere, a slow, warm layer of rock that moves over geologic time, stretching and folding like a heavy silk beneath the surface. The continents are not anchored. They glide, shift, and slide over this softened mantle, moved by the unseen flow of convection. Like boats on a sleeping ocean, the plates respond to heat rising from below, colliding, separating, or slipping past each other with ancient grace. We don't feel this drift. It's too slow for a heartbeat, too vast for a day. But over millions of years, mountains rise, oceans form, and continents wander. The Atlantic Ocean has widened, and the Pacific has shrunk. Africa inches northward. Australia drifts quietly through the southern seas, all of it floating gently on a planet that's alive beneath the crust. As you rest tonight, know that you, too, are part of this movement, lying still, yet drifting with the Earth's own breath. There's no need to grip or ground. You are already being carried. Let the thought rock you gently. Let it remind you that stability does not mean stillness. And beneath everything, there is always a current, always something soft holding you up, cradling you through time. Long ago, the land was one, a single cradle of stone that cracked and drifted into pieces, a slow scattering across oceans. This ancient unity was called Pangaea, a supercontinent where all Earth's land was once gathered close, like a puzzle pressed into place. Forests stretched from what is now North America to Europe. Rivers crossed continents that no longer touch. Then, over hundreds of millions of years, the pieces began to part, not with speed, but with the gentlest of drift. South America slipped away from Africa. India wandered north until it collided with Asia, raising the Himalayas like a long-held breath. Australia drifted into isolation. These slow separations wrote new maps, and the oceans, once narrow, opened wide. Today, the continents still move, a few centimeters each year. We live on floating pieces of ancient union, carried apart by time and heat. Fossils on opposite shores tell the same stories. Rocks separated by oceans match like torn pages. The earth forgets nothing. It only changes, and beneath your resting body now, the plate you live on moves slowly, silently across the deep mantle sea. Let that soften you. You are not fixed. You are part of something that drifts, that adapts, that remembers its wholeness even in distance. Let the idea of Pangaea cradle you, a time when everything touched, when the earth breathed as one. Here are the next segments, gently extended to 250 words each, continuing in your dreamy science tone. Each rock holds a memory of pressure, of fire, of ancient waters. They are the earth's journals, written without words. A single stone can hold the echo of a volcano, the hush of an ocean, the crush of mountains long gone. In its grains and folds and fractures, it carries stories that stretch beyond lifetimes, silent records of warmth, weight, and waiting. Sedimentary rocks tell of slow rivers and drifting sands, each layer like a soft page pressed by gravity. Igneous rocks whisper of molten beginnings, of eruptions, of fire, of something once fluid, now still. Metamorphic rocks speak of change, of deep burial, of stone becoming something new. You can run your fingers over their surfaces and feel texture shaped by time, sharp edges worn smooth, crystals aligned by pressure, colors faded or transformed. Even the cracks are part of the story, reminders that nothing escapes the rhythm of Earth's breath. As you lie quietly now, remember that the ground beneath you has turned, broken, healed, and turned again for billions of years. The rock you walk on today may have once been buried miles below or carried by glaciers across continents. Every step you've ever taken has touched time, so let your thoughts settle like sediment. Let your breath cool like lava. Let your body rest like stone. Tonight, you are not just lying on the earth. You are held in its memory. Every grain of sand was once part of something towering. Wind and water turned peaks into particles, and time smoothed them all. Mountains do not disappear. They crumble gently, grain by grain, into deserts, into beaches, into beds of rivers far from where they rose. And each grain of sand, no matter how small, once stood tall, once carried weight, once held shape. Over thousands, even millions of years, rain wears down rock. Rivers carry the fragments away, and wind polishes them into softness. The sharp becomes round, the mighty becomes fine. And in that transformation is something beautiful, not loss, but evolution. Sand is a song of patience. It remembers its source but asks nothing of it. It simply glows under sun, shifts with wind, and glides under waves. When you hold sand in your palm, you are cradling mountain memory, the earth's great peaks, now resting, scattered, breathing in a new form. As you close your eyes tonight, think of your own edges softening. Let the sharp corners of thought dissolve. Let everything tall in you gently settle into something quieter, something smaller but no less whole. Just as sand is still mountain, you are still strength, even in rest. Unlike continents, the ocean floor is young. It renews itself in secret, pushing out from deep rifts like invisible breath. Beneath miles of water, the earth is constantly creating. Along mid-ocean ridges, magma rises and hardens, forming new crust, fresh skin for a restless world. The seafloor spreads slowly, like soft arms reaching out. Old seafloor is pushed away, pulled under at deep trenches where it melts once more into the mantle, a cycle of birth and return. The oldest parts of the ocean floor are only about 200 million years old, a blink in geologic time. In contrast, some continental rocks are over 4 billion years old. The ocean is not a keeper of old bones. It is the world's renewal chamber, where youth is constantly reborn beneath pressure and salt. And though we cannot see it from above, this slow creation happens always, without rest. As you drift into sleep, imagine that, a hidden world of constant becoming, far beneath the waves, shaping the very face of the planet. Let your breath move like tectonic drift, slow, even, circular. There is no need to be old or new. You can simply be, forming, softening, releasing. Stalactites and stalagmites form drip by drip. In the hush of caves, stone reaches slowly for stone. Each droplet carries a whisper of minerals, tiny traces of calcium carbonate, dissolved and carried through cracks in the rock. When the droplet falls, it leaves behind a small offering, a crystal, a layer, a breath made solid, and then another, and another. Over centuries, millennia, these offerings become columns, curtains, delicate spires of stone that grow like dreams sculpted by gravity and time. Caves hold their own atmosphere, cool, still, humming with moisture and mineral scent. The air hangs thicker there. Sounds dissolve quickly. Light feels reluctant. Inside these secret hollows, earth writes poetry in limestone. Every drip is a syllable, every stalagmite a long sentence of stillness. You could spend a lifetime listening to a single room in a cave and still not hear it all. As you rest tonight, imagine lying in such a space, wrapped in ancient hush, surrounded by slow growth and mineral breath. Let each drop echo softly in your thoughts. Let time slow, then stop. Nothing is rushing, not even the stone. When the earth trembles, it is not breaking. It is stretching, adjusting, sighing beneath the surface. Tectonic plates press and slide, caught between friction and force. For a long time, they resist, but eventually they slip, and in that instant, the ground jolts, ripples, shifts. Earthquakes are not explosions. They are releases, letting go of built-up strain, realigning the edges of our floating continents. The waves they send travel through stone like ripples through skin, deep, fast, and felt. Some quakes are barely whispers, others are shouts, but all are part of Earth's constant motion, its need to stay balanced in a world that is never still. Beneath every calm forest, every quiet city, these plates still stretch, still press, still wait, and when they move, the world exhales. As you lie still now, know that even solid things need to move. Even stillness contains a pulse. You do not have to fear this movement. It is part of the Earth's grace, a reminder that shifts are natural, that realignment is necessary, that even the ground needs to sigh sometimes. Somewhere in the dark, magma stirs. Volcanoes are Earth's slow exhale, releasing pressure in glowing breath. They are not always violent. Sometimes they are gentle, oozing lava like honey poured across the ground. Sometimes they sleep for centuries before stirring. But when they speak, it is with depth, a voice from the planet's hidden heart. Magma rises through chambers and vents, shaped by heat, trapped gases, and tectonic motion. When the pressure grows too great, the surface gives way. Ash clouds bloom into the sky, lava spills and glows, and the earth remakes a piece of itself. What was once below becomes above. Islands rise, land expands, minerals form. In time, forests grow on cooled lava. Life returns to what was fire. Volcanoes remind us that destruction and creation are part of the same breath, that endings can begin again. Tonight, as you rest, feel the warmth of that idea, that what rises in you can also heal, that pressure is not the end, it is the beginning of something new. A fish, a fern, a feathered trace, all held in stone. Fossils are echoes of life pressed gently into time. They are whispers from vanished worlds, recorded not in ink, but in the language of pressure, mineral, and patience. A shell settles into silt, a bone rests beneath ash. Time closes over it like a tide, layer by layer, until what was soft becomes stone. But the shape remains, the curve of a spine, the lace of a leaf, the trace of a claw dragging through a mud. Each fossil is a shadow caught mid-motion, a still life of something that once breathed, blinked, and moved through sunlit days. You are not just looking at stone. You are looking through time. In quiet museums and canyon walls, fossils wait like dreams turned. Solid, they do not shout their stories, they murmur them. And if you lean in gently, you can almost hear it, the rustle of ancient forests, the splash of prehistoric seas, the heartbeat of a world before memory. Tonight, let these stone memories lull you. They remind us that even the fleeting can leave a mark, that softness can become strength, that what is lost is never truly gone, only transformed quietly into something that endures. Let the weight of time cradle you now and drift into sleep on the slow breath of the ages. With slow, unstoppable weight, glaciers shape valleys and smooth mountains. Their silence holds incredible force. They do not rush. They do not crackle with heat or roar with flame. Instead, they press gently, year by year, inch by inch, sculpting the world with the softest insistence. A glacier is the embodiment of patience, a frozen river that flows so slowly it seems still. Yet over centuries, it smooths jagged stone, carves deep bowls into bedrock, and leaves behind lakes, ridges, and polished silence. As you lie here now, imagine ice sliding over land, its weight both heavy and kind. The pressure of ages shapes the earth, like a hand resting softly on skin. Beneath its surface, rocks grind, crack, and shift, not in violence, but in quiet transformation. Glaciers remember winters long forgotten, each layer of snow compressed into history, recording the breath of ancient skies. And when they melt, they do so not in a hurry, but in silver trickles, streams born from stillness. Let that image hold you. Not all change is fast. Not all power is loud. Sometimes the most lasting beauty comes from the slowest movement. Let your thoughts move like ice tonight, unhurried, clear, and quietly strong. Soil is not dead. It breathes, digests, and grows, a thin, living skin stretched over the bones of the world. Beneath your feet, this humble surface teems with unseen life. Microbes, fungi, roots, and insects form a symphony of decay and renewal. Every handful of earth holds more organisms than people on the planet. It smells of rain, memory, and the beginnings of growth. It is not just where life begins. It is life, ongoing. Soil is the great recycler. Leaves fall, animals return to it, water moves through it, and in that mix, new things grow. A forest rises not just from sun and water, but from the quiet work of soil, layer upon layer. Even deserts carry a whisper of this life, slow, sparse, but still breathing. As you rest, imagine your body gently connected to this living skin, not separate, but part of the great breathing cycle. Your breath is like the wind that stirs the topsoil, your warmth like sun on moss. There is no rush, only becoming. Tonight, let that living ground cradle you. Let its slow hum of renewal remind you that stillness is not empty, that rest is not nothing. The earth is always becoming itself again. And so are you. No river moves in a straight line. They meander like thoughts, curving, pausing, returning. Water remembers the softest path. It listens to gravity, but chooses its journey with grace. It dances around obstacles, not against them. Every bend in a river is a sentence in the story of a landscape. Silt gathers where the water slows. Pebbles polish where it quickens. And the river keeps writing a fluid signature across the land. As you imagine a river now, picture its banks softening with moss. The hush of flowing water is a lullaby the earth sings to itself. Trees lean over it. Fish dart beneath it. The sky reflects in its moving mirror. You don't need to swim upstream. Tonight, you are the water, turning gently, without effort. The thoughts in your mind can curve like this too. No need to push them forward. Let them circle, wander, and flow. Like rivers, we are shaped by what we move through. and we shape it in return. Let that comfort you, that your path doesn't need to be straight to be true. It only needs to flow, one soft curve at a time. Beneath us, plates shift with unhurried momentum. This silent ballet forms mountains, trenches, and rifts. The earth is not still. Its outer shell floats atop molten currents, and though it feels firm beneath your feet, it is always gliding, just slowly. Continents move like giant rafts, drifting on the soft mantle below. They collide and embrace, pull apart, and circle endlessly. This slow motion sculpts everything, where mountains rise, where earthquakes sigh, where oceans open like breaths. The Himalayas are still climbing. The Atlantic is still widening. It is not chaos. It is choreography, deep and deliberate. As you lie still, know that the ground beneath you is not. It moves with a patience beyond time, carrying forests and cities on a quiet tide of stone. You are part of this drift, not separate from it. Let your thoughts move with the same ease. Let them shift, adjust, and settle into new shapes. Even continents take time to find their place. You are allowed to do the same. Crystals form slowly in hidden chambers. Geometry blooms from silence and pressure. Beneath the earth, far from sunlight or sound, crystals begin to grow. In still, mineral-rich pockets, time stretches out like a breath held in stone. Drop by drop, molecule by molecule, shapes begin to emerge. Sharp, angular, ordered. A structure forming not from chaos, but from a deep and unhurried logic. In the hush of underground spaces, geometry is born, not with violence, but with patience. Some crystals take centuries to stretch a single inch, recording the chemistry of their surroundings in the clarity of their faces. Quartz, calcite, amethyst, all speak this quiet language of formation, where beauty is not rushed and perfection takes time. Imagine these silent caverns where darkness lasts longer than empires, and yet something grows. Even the smallest glimmer in a stone speaks of ages gone by. Crystals are Earth's slowest bloom, like frozen music shaped in solitude, and though they may rest now in rings, in windows, in museum shelves, they began far away from human hands, in secret places, beneath mountains where no one watched. Tonight, as you drift into your own darkness, imagine those deep, quiet spaces where something beautiful is still growing. Let that slowness calm you. Let the silent order of crystal growth remind you, not everything needs light to form. Sometimes, even in shadow, things take shape, gently, patiently, perfectly. Inside the earth, the inner core spins slightly differently. It's like a hidden clock, turning deep beneath our feet. We walk on solid ground, but beneath us, the world is moving in mysterious ways. Deep below the crust, beneath the mantle, and even beneath the outer core of molten iron, there lies the inner core, a solid ball of metal, spinning on its own. Not at the same pace as the Earth we know, but just slightly faster or slower, depending on its mood across centuries. Scientists call it differential rotation, a quiet turning, invisible but real. It is as if the Earth has a second heart, one that beats deeper, older, more slowly. The inner core may be small compared to the planet's size, but it's crucial. Its motion helps generate the magnetic field that shields us from cosmic winds and solar storms. Though it never touches light or air, this hidden sphere has shaped the atmosphere that cradles life. Imagine this core now, spinning steadily, unhurried in its chamber of pressure and silence. No one has ever seen it, yet we know it's there. A reminder that not all motion is visible. and not all clocks tick where we can hear them. As you lie still tonight, feel the earth turning gently beneath you, and even deeper still, imagine that quiet core turning to a second heart, a second rhythm, rock, metal, time, all in motion, all carrying you softly through the night. Hot springs bubble with ancient heat. They carry minerals and memory from the planet's unseen heart. When you see a hot spring, steaming, glassy, glowing with strange colors, you are witnessing a secret journey. Water falls as rain, seeps into cracks, and then plunges down through stone, deeper and deeper, until it brushes the earth's warmth. There, near ancient heat, it transforms. It stirs with minerals, absorbs forgotten chemistry, then rises again, not with fury, but with peace, a slow ascent, a quiet return. Hot springs emerge as whispers, soft exhalations from the underworld. They are gentle signs that the earth is still breathing, still remembering. The minerals they carry tint the pools with blues, greens, and ochres. Not paint, but trace elements. Dissolved stories of rock and fire. Some pools bubble, some shimmer without a ripple. All are windows into what lies beneath. When you soak in one, you're wrapped in water that once traveled to great, unseen places, water that held the warmth of Earth's early heart. So, tonight, let that image drift with you, a spring in a silent forest, steam curling like mist, the air heavy with calm. Think of warmth not as heat, but as presence, as memory, as the quiet voice of the planet, rising in droplets and hush. There is no rush, only the soft cycle of descent and return, of warmth found and shared again. Every eruption is an inhale and exhale. Steam rises like a sigh from the sleeping earth. Beneath your feet, the earth breathes in ways you can't see, but in geysers, it exhales. Water trapped deep below the surface is heated past boiling, but held under pressure, like a breath waiting to be released. And then, suddenly, it rises, not in a scream, but in a powerful, rhythmic sigh, a jet of steam, a plume of spray, and just as suddenly, it falls quiet again, readying for the next breath. This is not chaos. It is a cycle, a pulse. Geysers are lungs of the geothermal world, reminders that even stone-bound planets have rhythms. The water that erupts was once rain. It traveled deep, touched fire, and returned skyward with stories no one heard. In places like Iceland, Yellowstone, New Zealand, geysers mark the land like breathing scars, beautiful, surprising, and alive. As you imagine one now, think not of force, but of balance, pressure and pause, release and rest. Even the most dramatic geysers have their sleep, their waiting, their lull. Let this rhythm lull you too. The earth breathes without haste. So can you. In, out. Heat rises, mist softens. The land exhales. Let yourself rise with it, then fall slowly into stillness. Each mineral carries a unique structure, unseen yet ordered. It's a crystalline language, patient and precise. If you could peer into the smallest structures of a mineral, past its color, past its weight, you would see a kind of silent perfection. Tiny atoms arranged in geometric patterns, repeating like poems too small to read with eyes. Every mineral has its own design, like a fingerprint or a signature. Halite forms perfect cubes, quartz spirals, mica flakes like paper. These are not random. They are written, grown, obeyed. And though they lie quiet in your hand, these structures reflect the heat, pressure, and chemistry of the place they formed. They are whispers from Earth's laboratories, notes from its long experiments in stone. Some minerals glow under UV light, some conduct electricity, some dissolve slowly in rain, but all of them carry within them a record, a memory of formation. As you lie in stillness, imagine these tiny, invisible frameworks all around you, beneath the soil, within mountains, even in the dust that settles by your bed. Order hidden in silence, code beneath your feet. There's something comforting in knowing that the world has its own quiet rules, that even in chaos, there is structure, that the planet speaks a soft language, not in words, but in lattice and line. Let that quiet code settle over you now. Nothing to decipher, nothing to solve. Just rest in the presence of precision, humming in the dark, understood. Proceeding now with the exact extension of segments, 21D, 30 to 250 words each, using your strict formatting and tone guidelines. When the desert cools, rocks contract and crack. Some even sing, their frequencies lost to human ears. The day's heat leaves slowly, and in the silence of nightfall, the rocks whisper back to the cold. Their surfaces tense, then shift, a gentle fracture, a subtle ping. Some say it sounds like chimes you cannot quite hear, a chorus of ancient stone adjusting to darkness. These are not dramatic shouts, but soft tonal shifts, echoes within the mineral body of the earth. The desert, so quiet on the surface, is full of movement underneath, expansion, contraction, release. Even in stillness, there is motion. Even in silence, there is song. The landscape listens to itself, responds to the night, and settles into cooler rhythms. And as the stars rise, these rocks continue their slow conversation, not in words, but in warmth, tension, and tone. If you could shrink into that scale, become a grain of sand resting nearby, you might feel it more than hear it, a vibration in the bones, a shiver in the silence, a lullaby made of quartz and basalt, and the breath of dry wind. Let yourself imagine it now, the desert under moonlight, wind brushing over dunes, and beneath it all, the gentle song of cooling rocks. You are surrounded by frequencies older than language, older than music. Here, in the hush of geologic time, even the stones remember how to sing. And you, drifting now, are part of the quiet rhythm they hum. Every layer of rock is a page. Together, they form chapters of time stacked gently beneath your feet. Some layers are thick with ancient oceans. Others are thin whispers of dust from long ago volcanoes. These layers don't just sit in silence, they speak. Each band of sediment, each ripple of shale, is a sentence in the slow memoir of the earth. A desert becomes a sea, a floodplain becomes a canyon wall. Time presses down and leaves a record, one layer at a time. If you could peel back the ground like a book, you would see eras curled together, some calm, some catastrophic, all patient. Footprints fossilized into silt, ferns pressed into coal, ash from a forgotten fire drifting through stone. It's not just color and texture, it's sequence, memory, order. Even now, rivers cut through these pages. Wind wears them smooth. We walk across paragraphs of limestone and granite without realizing we're stepping through eons. And when geologists read the land, they do not rush. They trace these layers like archaeologists of silence. They learn the tone of each chapter by its tilt, its thickness, its whisper of embedded fossils. Tonight, let yourself feel that quiet order beneath you, not chaos, not confusion, but a vertical story gently unfolding in stone. Let it cradle you as you drift, one layer after another, one page, then the next. The story of the earth continues, and for now, you are safely tucked between its chapters. At the center, molten iron moves in looping currents. This invisible dance shields the planet from space. These swirls of metal, deep, hot, and hidden, create a magnetic field that stretches far above your head, a protective shell invisible to the eye, but crucial to life. It curves like a soft cocoon, guiding charged particles around the Earth instead of into it. Without this field, solar winds would strip the atmosphere, and life would never have found its rhythm. But because of this silent movement, this unending stir of molten metal, Earth hums with protection. The core is not still. It turns, it churns, it pulses with heat left over from the planet's beginning. And from that motion, a magnetic heartbeat spreads outward. Compasses align because of it. Birds migrate with its guidance. The auroras dance at the poles where this field meets solar fire. And yet, it all starts beneath your feet, in a place you will never see, where iron moves like thought, slow, unending, essential. As you lie still tonight, remember that there is motion below, not chaos, but rhythm, not noise, but force. Let yourself feel wrapped in that unseen shell, a field made of molten memory, a silent song of spinning metal, keeping the world whole. It does not ask for thanks. It does not sleep. It simply turns always beneath the cradle of your rest. There were days when the sky was orange and oceans were green. Geology remembers each hue, not in photographs, but in iron deposits, in fossilized plankton, in the strange stains of ancient mud. The world has worn many palettes, most of them far from the familiar blues and greens we know now. Once, there was no oxygen, and the seas shimmered with rust. Then, cyanobacteria began to breathe, and the sky began to change. The planet turned slowly from haze to clarity, from alien warmth to something resembling home. Each shift left a trace, in the layers of stone, in the color of sediment, in the shapes of the earliest shells. Even now, rocks tell us when the air was thick, when the seas were shallow, when the light looked different. A pink twilight here, a sulfur dawn there. The earth has painted itself again and again, and as it turned, its colors deepened. Some were soft and strange, lavender skies, glowing plankton seas. Others were harsh, black ash, winters, red dust storms. Let yourself imagine those skies now, those otherworldly oceans. You are lying on a planet that is always becoming something new. And still, beneath your resting body, those pigments remain, not in light, but in stone. Let the idea of changing colors comfort you, a reminder that nothing stays the same, but everything leaves a trace. Tonight, you are safe in the latest hue of Earth, one of many, resting under a sky that still remembers. When space touches Earth, it leaves a mark. These craters hold moments of sudden violence now softened by time, a flash, a strike, a ripple through stone, then silence. Erosion smooths the edges, wind carries away the dust, and what remains is a hollow echo of the cosmos. Some craters are small, only a few steps across. Others stretch for miles. Entire valleys formed in seconds. They come from iron, from ice, from ancient wanderers pulled by gravity's whisper. And though the impact is sudden, the memory is long. Lakes form in their bowls. Forests grow in their shadows. Life returns to what was shattered. Some become rings of color in desert plains. Others sink into mossy hills, almost forgotten. But the earth remembers. The shock waves remain in the rock. The minerals tell stories of heat, of fusion, of pressure beyond imagination. As you rest, imagine that sudden light, followed by centuries of stillness. A crater is not only destruction, it is a moment preserved. A scar, yes, but also a pause. a deep breath in the planet's surface. Let yourself rest there now, in that hush, in the aftermath that became a landscape, in the silence after fire. You are safe in that stillness, part of a world that absorbs even the loudest moment and gently makes it quiet. There was a time when ice reached the equator. The world breathed shallow, wrapped in frozen silence. Entire oceans lay beneath a shell of frost, and even the air felt slow, muted, like breath beneath blankets. It is called Snowball Earth, a time when glaciers touched nearly every land, and sunlight bounced away from a pale, shimmering world. Life huddled near volcanic vents, microbes clustered beneath the ice, warmed by geothermal whispers. The planet held its breath for millions of years, and yet it did not die. Beneath that cold, something waited. Heat pooled below, carbon dioxide slowly built up, and one day the thaw began, not with a roar, but a melt. Glaciers retreated, water flowed, the planet exhaled, and from that long silence, new forms of life emerged, stronger, stranger, more complex. Snowball Earth was not the end. It was a pause, a resetting, a deep sleep before the bloom. As you lie still now, think of that hush, the white silence, the slow return of warmth. Let your body mirror that rhythm, a soft stillness, followed by gentle breath. The world knows how to rest. It knows how to return. So do you. Like icebergs, mountains hide most of their mass below. Their roots dig deep into the crust. What rises high above ground is only part of the story, a peak held aloft by foundations that reach downward like anchors. These roots press into ancient rock, cradling the mountain like a tooth set in the jaw of the earth. Beneath every summit is a history of collision, compression, and rise. Continents collided, plates buckled, and stone, once flat, began to rise. But it did not rise alone. It pulled rock upward from below, drawing its roots with it. These roots are hidden, but they hold the mountain steady, like fingers grasping from beneath. Over time, as the peak weathers and erodes, the roots remain. They linger beneath plains that were once peaks, telling silent stories of vanished giants. Tonight, as you lie still, imagine the land beneath you, not just surface, but depth, layers stacked like memories, roots of rock holding steady beneath your breath. The mountain is not a thing apart, it is a surface expression of a deeper presence. You too are held by unseen roots. Gravity, stone, and silence press upward beneath you. Let that thought hold you now. You are not weightless, you are grounded. You rest not on the earth, but within it. Let yourself feel the slow, ancient foundation that cradles your body. The world does not just support you, it roots you. And in that stillness, you are steady, you are home. As lava cools, it becomes land. Islands are born from fire hardening into stone. The earth opens a wound, molten and glowing, and from that wound, a new surface emerges. It sizzles, it steams, it crackles into shape. From chaos, a coastline. From fire, a future forest. This is not the destruction we often imagine. It's creation, slow, hot, and raw. Volcanic eruptions are loud, yes, but what they leave behind is lasting. Whole continents were once lava fields. Much of the ocean floor is still growing from deep fissures where Earth's heat seeps out. Lava moves like thought, slow in some places, sudden in others. It folds and flows, it bubbles and rests, and then it cools, solidifies, becomes memory beneath your feet. If you have ever stood on black rock by the sea or walked a trail of uneven stone, you felt that memory. The world made solid, fire made quiet, and from that stone, life comes. Moss, then grass, Insects, birds, trees, cities even, all rising from what was once liquid earth. Tonight, you don't have to understand the chemistry, just feel the transformation, from heat to hardness, from motion to stillness. Let your thoughts do the same. Let them melt, flow, and cool, become quiet, become ground. You are not separate from this process. You are part of it. Let it hold you, this hardened warmth, this ancient lava now cool and calm. You are lying on cooled fire, and that fire remembers how to rest. Sometimes, a shiver is all it takes. Entire hillsides flow like water, tumbling with gravity's hush. Earthquakes don't always roar. Sometimes they whisper, a tiny shift in tension, a release too small to feel, but enough to set the land in motion. Soil loosens, roots stretch, rocks roll. What seemed steady begins to slide. Not all landslides are disasters. Some reshape the land slowly, carving new curves into old hills. Trees fall gently, rivers change course, valleys widen without a sound. It's the earth adjusting itself, not breaking, but flowing. A quiet correction. Gravity is always waiting. It doesn't push, it invites. And when the time is right, the land accepts. Tonight, as you breathe, imagine that slow surrender, the letting go, the drift. You don't have to hold everything in place. The hills don't. The soil doesn't. Even the strongest stone will one day shift. And that's not failure. It's nature. Let yourself follow that rhythm. Let your thoughts unspool like soil on a slope. Let your body soften like loosened clay. The earth does not resist gravity. It dances with it. You can too. Feel that weight carry you, not down, but inward, toward rest, toward stillness, toward something softer than silence. Even the hills one day will fall asleep. Rocks and oceans inhale and exhale carbon over eons. It's a cycle slower than breath. Carbon slips into rain, into rivers, into the sea. It seeps into limestone, drifts in plankton shells, settles in the bones of ancient coral. Then, with time, it rises again, through mountain uplift, volcanic sighs, and the quiet crumble of stone. The earth does not rush. Its lungs are made of sediment and sea. When we speak of climate, of atmosphere, of warmth and coolness, we are listening to the planet breathe. Some breaths take thousands of years, others happen in a day, but all are connected. When carbon rises too fast, the balance shifts, and still, the earth tries to adjust, drawing it back into stone, back into roots, back into stillness. As you rest tonight, let your breath slow. Imagine your lungs sinking with the long breath of the earth. Inhale like a forest, exhale like a wave. There is no hurry, no pressure, just the rhythm of exchange, just the balance between fire and soil, between cloud and cave. You are part of that breath. Your body returns carbon with every exhale. Your bones borrow it for a while. And when you're quiet, when you sleep, you become part of that ancient rhythm. The soft inhale of a stone, the long exhale of stars. Let it hold you now. Let it lull you. You are breathing in time with the earth, and it is breathing back. When the desert cools, rocks contract and crack. Some even sing, their frequencies lost to human ears. In the stillness of night after the sun's departure, the stones begin to shift, ever so slightly. Their surfaces, stretched by heat during the day, now tighten in the hush of cooling air. And as the tension builds, a sudden fracture may sound not with a bang, but with a note, soft, deep, and barely audible, a kind of subterranean hum. Scientists call them acoustic emissions, but the desert has known this music for eons. It is the slow percussion of earth breathing in darkness. This whispering song travels through sand, through empty canyons, through the bones of sleeping animals and stone alike. And though we may not hear it with our ears, the land carries it like a lullaby written in vibration. These notes are ancient, a melody shaped not by instruments, but by time and silence. To lie beneath the desert sky, wrapped in stars, is to rest upon an orchestra of shifting plates and cooling stone. The music never repeats, it never performs, but it plays softly, patiently, a language not meant for quick understanding, but for stillness. The earth does not rush its symphonies. It lets them unfold note by note, fracture by fracture, across the span of eras. So tonight, if you listen with your skin instead of your ears, you might feel it. The desert singing beneath you. A lullaby for stone, a cradle of sound older than sleep itself. Every layer of rock is a page. Together, they form chapters of time stacked gently beneath your feet. The deeper you go, the older the story becomes. Not written in ink, but in texture, mineral, and fossil. Shale pressed from ancient mud, limestone whispered into place by coral reefs long gone, sandstone formed from deserts that no longer breathe. These layers do not shout, they do not announce themselves. They simply lie in wait, patient and permanent, a story told in silence. Each stratum holds a moment, a drought, a flood, a shift, a bloom. Some contain remnants of leaves, or shells, or ash that once fell from distant volcanoes. Others are smooth, empty, clean slates between chapters of chaos. Geologists learn to read them not by words but by rhythm. They trace the lines, the tilts, the subtle changes in color. And from this, they understand the pulse of the earth across millions of years. To walk across a rock is to skim the surface of a history book where pages have settled horizontally. And when tectonic forces lift or tilt them, it's like the book opening just slightly, letting us glimpse what's hidden within. Even in cliffs, even in road cuts, this vertical story reveals itself, slowly, quietly. As you rest, imagine the ground beneath you, not as inert, but as a layered memory, pressed gently into place. The earth remembers everything. It keeps its story stacked, sealed, and softly sleeping until erosion or time lets it whisper once more. At the center, molten iron moves in looping currents. This invisible dance shields the planet from space. You cannot see it, and you cannot hear it. Yet this churning sea of liquid metal beneath our feet is a silent guardian. As it flows, it generates a magnetic field, stretching outward like an unseen cloak around the earth. Without it, solar winds would strip our atmosphere away, and cosmic radiation would bathe the surface in quiet harm. But instead, thanks to this core's steady turning, we are shielded, protected, held. The outer core's flow is not chaotic, but rhythmic, like a hidden pulse. It mirrors, in a way, the gentle beating of a heart. Magnetic lines arc from pole to pole, curving invisibly through space. They guide birds across continents. They dance in auroras near the poles. And though the field sometimes wobbles or even reverses over millennia, it never forgets its role. It guards the breath of the earth. It turns beneath continents, oceans, cities, and forests, asking nothing in return, just this quiet protection. As you lie still tonight, imagine that liquid iron beneath you, flowing, turning, keeping a magnetic rhythm far older than human time. You do not need to understand it. Just know that it is there, a slow, molten lullaby. And above you, wrapped in its field, the atmosphere cradles your sleep. The night sky glows faintly at the poles, But here, in your quiet place, it is calm, the shield holds, and the iron heart turns on. There were days when the sky was orange and oceans were green. Geology remembers each hue, not just in minerals, but in the chemistry of ancient seas and the atmosphere's breath. Before plants filled the air with oxygen, the sky held other colors, soft hazes of methane, faint rusts of iron floating in the clouds, and the oceans, lacking blue, shimmered in tones of olive and jade, reflecting the strange life blooming below. Rocks remember these shades. Banded iron formations capture the moment when oxygen first arrived, bonding with iron and falling like silent red rain to the seafloor. Pale beds of limestone hold stories of warm, shallow seas teeming with creatures now extinct, and in volcanic glass, frozen in mid-eruption, you can find the memory of ancient light. Color is not just surface, it is history, it is chemistry in reflection. The earth had blushed, darkened, brightened, and dimmed over and over again. Every change was slow, a breath here, a bloom there, a shift in life, a turning of air, and the palette of the planet evolved. Tonight, you are lying in a world shaped by those colors. The blue of today's sky is not eternal. It is a chapter. The green of forests, the tan of sand, the white of clouds, all of it is borrowed from time. So rest beneath this version of the world. Know that it has been many things, and still, beneath it all, the stone remembers every shade you'll never see. When space touches Earth, it leaves a mark. These craters hold moments of sudden violence now softened by time. The impact happens in silence you cannot hear, a silence filled with speed and force. A meteor, small or vast, arrives from the cold dark, moving faster than sound, and strikes the ground in an instant. The energy released is immense, reshaping landscapes in the blink of a geological eye. But then, after the heat and light, comes stillness. Wind returns, rain softens the rim, plants take root in the fractured stone, lakes fill the empty bowls. And what was once an event becomes a memory carved into land. Some craters become sanctuaries, others forgotten basins, but all of them are timepieces. They mark when the universe reached out and touched the earth. Beneath your feet, these scars sleep quietly. You may walk past one without knowing. You may rest on ground once shaken by stars, and the stone will not protest. It has absorbed the moment. It has continued onward. As you rest, imagine that soft curve of land, not a wound, but a record, not a threat, but a whisper of what has passed. The planet endures, it turns, it heals, and in its vast memory, meteors are just part of the dream, a moment of contact, followed by eons of peace. Tonight, you sleep not far from cosmic memory. Let it cradle you. Let it remind you. Even the fiercest impacts fade into quiet. There was a time when ice reached the equator. The world breathed shallow, wrapped in frozen silence. Oceans were sealed beneath miles of frost. Mountains wore glaciers like robes. The sky hung heavy with snow, and even the winds moved slower. This was Snowball Earth, a time when nearly the entire planet lay beneath a sheath of ice. It wasn't a day or a season, but millions of years of quiet cold. Life did not vanish, but it shrank into hidden places, beneath the ice, in warm vents, in silent pools beneath frozen crusts. And still, the earth turned, slowly, patiently. The sun warmed ever so slightly. Volcanoes breathed out carbon, and the long winter began to melt. Slowly the ice receded, rivers flowed again, clouds shifted, life returned in full, blooming in colors against once white landscapes. the memory remains in ancient rocks, glacial striations on stone, drop stones buried in sediment, a geologic sigh frozen and then thawed. Tonight, as you lie wrapped in warmth, imagine that distant silence, a world covered in reflection, no sound but ice cracking, no rush, just the slow, eventual promise of warmth returning. And even now, Earth remembers that quiet cold in polar ice, in alpine snow, in the breath of glaciers. So let yourself be still, let the hush of deep winter hold you. The planet has known long nights, and it always wakes. Even deserts move, grains roll forward, inch by inch, forming shifting waves of time. What looks still in the heat of day is actually a motion, subtle, persistent, unhurried. Each gust of wind carries a handful of sand from one crest to another. Each nighttime breeze rearranges the surface just slightly, like fingers smoothing a blanket. Over days and decades, dunes walk across the landscape, not with legs, but with rhythm. They crest and collapse. They lean into the wind and then retreat. What once was a high slope becomes a shallow dip, and then rises again somewhere else. Beneath the surface, older layers press downward, their patterns hidden like memory beneath skin. These patterns show the record of movement, how time has folded the same grains into new shapes again and again. And though no single grain knows where the dune is going, together they travel. The desert hums with this slow choreography. It is not hurried, it is not still, it is always changing, always writing and rewriting its own surface. At night, under starlight, the dunes seem to freeze, but even then, the breeze continues. Tiny avalanches cascade down their faces, rearranging silence into new forms. And so, like thought, like memory, like sleep itself, the dunes move, slowly, softly, one grain at a time. For centuries, they may not move, and then, in a single breath, they shift. Tectonic plates do not announce their plans. They wait, holding tension beneath the crust, where silence gathers like breath before a sigh. Beneath mountains, beneath oceans, these massive slabs of rock press gently or grind stubbornly against one another. They do not hurry, they do not forget. Instead, they store the stress in deep folds, in hidden faults, in long lines beneath the land. And then, when balance tips, they release. The pause becomes motion, the stillness becomes a shudder. The earth speaks, not in words, but in waves of sudden change. Landscapes ripple, rivers redirect. The ground itself opens and closes like a muscle in spasm. And then, again, quiet, as if nothing had happened, but everything has. This is the rhythm of plates, stillness, strain, then motion, like a lull before a heartbeat, like the space between breaths. Cities are built on top of these pauses. Forests grow and lives unfold. And then, sometimes, the plates remember and shift. It reminds us that the ground is not truly solid. It is not fixed. Beneath the surface, everything moves, slowly, deeply, quietly, until it doesn't. Until, in a single moment, the earth decides to continue its slow conversation with a whisper that shakes the sky. With heat and pressure, softness becomes strength. Marble is transformation written in stone. Once it was limestone, a sediment of shells and skeletons pressed together on ancient seafloors. Gentle, porous, familiar, but time and tectonics buried it deeper, folding it into Earth's warm interior. There, under relentless pressure, the limestone changed. Its structure shifted, its grains recrystallized. The fossils disappeared, not erased, but transformed. The softness became density, fragility became resilience, and the result was marble, smooth, luminous, and strong. It holds light in a way few stones can, glowing softly from within, as if it remembers warmth. Sculptors love it not because it's easy, but because it responds. A chisel doesn't just carve it, it reveals it. Veins of color run through it like threads of memory, mapping its journey from seabed to sculpture. In some pieces, you can still feel the ocean's hush beneath the polish. Marble is what happens when time meets patience, when pressure meets possibility. It does not rush, it does not resist, it simply becomes. And in becoming, it carries the quiet dignity of change, the kind we don't always notice, but always feel. So the next time you see marble in a staircase, a statue, a countertop, remember the transformation beneath its shine. It was once soft, now it holds its shape with grace. Seismic waves bend and disappear in certain depths. There is a place they cannot pass. Deep within Earth's interior lies a boundary, not of rock, but of behavior. It's called the shadow zone. When an earthquake occurs, it sends out ripples in every direction, like a stone dropped in a pond. Some of these waves travel through solids, some through liquids, but not all of them make it through every layer. When they reach a certain depth, the outer core, which is molten, some waves vanish, others bend, refract, scatter. The result is a zone on Earth's surface where those waves never arrive, a gap in the signal, a silence that reveals something hidden. That silence is not empty. It speaks volumes. It tells us the outer core is liquid. It tells us the planet is layered, like a song with verses we can't quite hear, but know are there. The shadow zone is proof that Earth has a deep, molten heart, and that this heart leaves an echo of absence. Seismologists map these shadows, reading the planet's structure from the way it disrupts sound. It's like hearing a voice through walls and understanding the shape of the room from the way the words curve. The shadow zone is Earth's secret hush, a place where waves refuse to pass, a quiet wrapped in fire, a silence that glows. Under Antarctica, lakes lie untouched by sunlight. They've waited in silence for millions of years, hidden beneath miles of compressed ice. These ancient lakes are sealed from the world above, insulated by time and pressure. No light reaches them. No winds disturb their surface. They rest in a kind of suspended stillness, their waters older than human memory. Some have never once touched the air, yet life may still drift within them, tiny, resilient, slow. The ice above is not just a cover, but a keeper of quiet. It presses downward gently, a soft weight that preserves the moment, like a glass dome over a forgotten world. Scientists listen with instruments, not eyes. They study vibrations, echoes, shadows of warmth, trying to understand what stories these hidden lakes might tell. And as you rest, imagine the silence beneath the ice, a silence so deep it becomes its own kind of sound, steady, ancient, unbroken. Down there, time flows differently. There are no seasons, no sunlight, no rush, only the slow, patient movement of molecules, the steady drip of memory in the dark. These lakes are more than water. They are waiting made visible. They are Earth's deep breath, held for eons. Tonight, let your breath slow too. Let stillness wrap you like ice, preserving you in a quiet moment beyond thought. You don't need to surface. Just drift beneath, unbothered, like water waiting to be remembered. When basaltic lava moves, it glows and glides, a slow, dark river that cools into hard song. It doesn't boil like water or snap like flame. It oozes forward in thick ribbons, glowing from within like molten honey. Each inch is a breath of the Earth's interior, released to the surface with soft determination. As it moves, it reshapes everything, coating the land, swallowing hollows, creating new forms. This flow is not chaotic but smooth, rhythmic, deliberate. Even when it meets the sea, there's no explosion, just steam and hiss, the meeting of two old elements, fire and water, greeting each other with warmth. Over time, this lava cools and hardens into basalt, a stone with memory baked into its grain. You can trace its curves long after it stopped moving, like reading the lines of a frozen song. Sometimes, basalt cracks into perfect hexagons, revealing the quiet geometry inside. As you listen, imagine this flow, not destructive, but creative, a process so slow it could be mistaken for stillness, and yet it's always moving. Let that feeling seep into you now, the warmth beneath stillness, the quiet motion of change. You don't need to rush forward. Like lava, you can drift slowly and still arrive. Like basalt, you can carry your softness inside until it's ready to become strength. Tonight, let your thoughts cool slowly. Let your body become still stone, warm at the core, resting in the hush between movement and memory. Deep underground, crystal chambers bloom. Some are large enough to walk through, others just shimmer unseen. In the dark, where sunlight never reaches, minerals gather and shape themselves with exquisite patience. Over centuries, droplets of mineral-rich water seep into voids and hollows, leaving behind microscopic traces that, over time, become luminous shapes. Crystals are time-made visible, slow, deliberate, growing in silence. There is no rush, no spark, no noise, only formation, steady and unseen. Some crystals, like selenite, grow in smooth, clear blades taller than a person. Others form tight clusters, dense with sparkle and geometry. You might never know they're there unless a cave opens like a sigh, revealing the beauty hidden beneath the rock. These places are dreamlike, echoing chambers where light bounces off facets and silence feels sacred. Imagine lying in such a chamber now, cool air, the hush of stone, the shimmer of unseen growth around you. Nothing to chase, nothing to decide, just stillness, stretching in every direction. Crystals don't demand attention. They simply exist, slowly becoming, and you too can rest in that becoming. Your thoughts don't have to hurry. Your body doesn't have to shape itself right away. Let this be your chamber, dim, quiet, vast. Let time do its work without your effort. Breathe softly as minerals do. Form gently like light in a cave. You are safe here in this slow unfolding. You are enough, simply growing, quietly, unseen. Gneiss has lived many lives. Each fold and stripe is a story of burial and rebirth. Beneath your feet, this rock has been crushed, heated, and transformed, not once, but again and again. Its minerals, once soft layers in sediment, were dragged deep into the earth and restructured under immense pressure, like dreams hardened into memory. Then, perhaps, lifted back up by shifting crust, then buried again. Each band of color tells of change. Each shimmer is the result of heat, compression, and time. You're not just looking at a stone, you're looking at a life that refused to remain in one shape. Imagine your own experiences as layers, some folded neatly, some twisted with difficulty, all part of your bedrock. Like gneiss, you have weathered pressure. You've gone deep and returned. You've changed, not always by choice, but always in form. Let that thought cradle you now. You don't need to undo the past. You don't need to resist the changes ahead. Like rock, You are allowed to transform, allowed to rest between cycles. Gneiss isn't afraid of being different from what it was. It glows in its complexity, in its textured past. Tonight, rest like metamorphic stone, holding all your history gently inside you with no need to explain. You are layered and lovely, shaped by pressure but never broken. Close your eyes and feel the weight of the earth settle softly around you. You are strong and still becoming. Soft and impressionable, clay records the flow of rain. It remembers footsteps, roots, and even silence. When water touches it, clay doesn't resist. It yields, molds, absorbs. It holds the shape of what passes through, but not in fear, in welcome. A single drop of rain leaves a ripple. A breeze might shift a pattern. And yet, clay endures, changing gently. In ancient times, messages were etched into clay because it listens, because it keeps. Fossils have been found preserved in it, like echoes of soft creatures who once brushed across its surface. Even now, it cradles seeds, cupping the promise of green in its damp palms. As you lie still, imagine yourself as clay, not hard, not brittle, but soft in the best way, able to hold memory without clinging, able to shift shape without losing self. Let the impressions of the day wash over you now. Let them mark you gently, then dissolve. You don't need to harden. You don't need to forget. Just allow. You are held by the earth, like clay waiting for rain, receptive and resting. Every inhale is like water settling in. Every exhale, a shape remembered, then released. Nothing you've experienced has been wasted. It's all part of your texture, your softness, your quiet strength. Sleep in that stillness. Let the silence imprint softly. Tomorrow, you may hold new shapes, but for now, simply rest. Let the day's footsteps fade. Let the water soak in. Let yourself be soft. Not all waves crash. Some ripple through stone, silent, invisible, slow. Earthquakes begin, not with sound, but with motion beneath stillness. Attention builds quietly, and then, in an instant, release. But the movement doesn't stay where it starts. It travels. It glides through the crust, like a murmur too deep to hear. There are P waves, the fast messengers, and S waves, the rolling ones, each passing through the body of the earth like whispered signals. Some waves bend, others reflect, some ripple across the surface like a memory spreading outward. To us, they arrive as shudders, as brief uncertainty, but beneath that, they are elegant, structured, mathematical, precise. The world speaks through these motions, and once past, the land quiets again. Let your breath follow that same path. Let your thoughts ripple once, then soften. Whatever shook you today, it has already moved through. You are not where it began. You are where it ends, in calm. Feel the wave pass. Feel the stillness return. There is nothing to brace against now. No aftershock. Only the slow settling of the world back into peace. Let your limbs be ground again, solid, unmoving. Let your mind echo softly, then hush. You are held now in the arms of still earth. No noise, no tremble, just the faint memory of movement and the quiet that follows. Let that quiet carry you deeper into rest. You are not falling. You are resting after a wave. Let it be enough. Geodes begin as hollow whispers. Then minerals seep in, forming crystals in the dark. They start as empty pockets in volcanic rock or sediment, little voids no one sees. Over time, sometimes years, sometimes millions of years, mineral-rich water drips inside. Silica, quartz, amethyst, they all find their way into the quiet. Slowly, layer by layer, crystals begin to form. They grow inward, toward the center of nothing. From the outside, a geode looks ordinary, rough, even dull, but inside there is brilliance, a slow-built cathedral of light, hidden within. You would never know unless you broke it open. Even then, it must be cracked carefully. Its treasure lies beneath silence and patience. Let yourself be like that tonight. You do not need to shine outwardly. You do not need to explain your beauty. It is enough that it grows inside you, unseen. Let rest be the water that fills your hollow places. Let your breath be the slow drip of healing. You are becoming something intricate in your quiet. Let the outer world fall away, its noise, its expectations. Let your rough edges protect the softness within, and inside, where no one watches, let yourself sparkle. No one needs to witness it. No one needs to understand. The earth grows wonders in secret. So do you. Sleep now in your cave of forming light. Grow slowly. Shine inward. The hollow is not empty. It is waiting to become full of stars. Reefs leave behind limestone bones. Ocean memory turned into cliffs and hills. Coral grows silently, building homes for fish and color. Then storms come, or time passes, and the reef dies. But it does not vanish. Its structure remains, calcified, compacted, layered beneath waves or lifted into the air. Over eons, the bones of the reef become rock. Mountains rise where oceans once whispered. The coral's delicate lace becomes stone that resists wind and tide. You may walk on a hill now that once was bright with fish, touched by waves, dappled with sunlight through water. The earth does not forget beauty. It simply preserves it differently. Let that comfort you. What fades does not disappear. What is soft may one day become strength. If you feel worn down tonight, know this. Even your most fragile moments can harden into resilience. Even your memories, painful or sweet, can become the bedrock of who you are. Rest in that knowing. You are not drifting. You are layering. You are building a kind of reef inside, even as you sleep. Let your breath rise and fall like the tide. Let the skeletons of your day settle into rest. The reef has done its work. Now it becomes part of the earth. You too are transforming, quietly, slowly. Sleep is your sediment. Let it bury the noise. Let it solidify the peace. And when you wake, you'll carry the shape of something once living, now lasting. Though unseen, the mantle glows with residual warmth, a deep, quiet ember beneath our lives. Between the solid crust and the molten core, the mantle moves in slow, convective swirls. It is neither fully solid nor fully liquid. It exists in a state of soft resistance flowing over geologic time. This movement fuels volcanoes, shifts continents, and carries the heat of Earth's birth. Yet we never see it. We live above its silence, unaware of its glowing breath. The mantle holds the planet's memory, a pulse that began billions of years ago and still continues, faint and steady. You have such warmth within you too, not always visible, not always known, but present, sustaining. Let yourself feel it now beneath your surface, a soft fire that keeps you going, a quiet energy that doesn't need to be loud. As you rest, imagine yourself wrapped around that ember. Let your breath swirl like the mantle's currents. Let the outer world go cool and quiet. Deep below, you remain warm, not with effort, but with presence. You don't have to shine tonight. You only have to glow inwardly, softly, like the earth itself holding heat in the dark. Let it comfort you. Let it carry you into stillness. You are not cold. You are not spent. The warmth within you has been burning a long time. Sleep now and let it continue, unspoken, unseen, unshakable. Where rock fractures, minerals gather, gold moves with water, then stays behind like a glint of stillness. Fault zones, often seen as places of destruction, are also where beauty condenses. Cracks open, water flows in, carrying dissolved metals. Over time, as pressure shifts and temperatures change, the water leaves something behind: quartz veins, flecks of gold, threads of brightness in the stone. These are not placed all at once, but layer by layer, slowly. Wealth hidden in places where the world has broken. Let that be your metaphor tonight. If you feel fractured, remember, this is where the gold collects. Not in the perfect surfaces, but in the fault lines, in the places where you've shifted, been stressed, been reshaped. Let your breath seep into those spaces. Let rest fill your cracks like water. There is nothing wrong with having fractures. The earth does too, and it is in those very places that something precious begins to settle. Let sleep be your mineral, slow to arrive, but certain. Let dreams crystallize gently inside your weariness. There is richness growing in you still. Do not rush it, do not chase it. Just lie still and let the quiet do its work. You are not broken. You are becoming something luminous in the dark, something gold, something whole. Let the fault lines be soft tonight. Let them shimmer, hidden in your sleep. Some quakes bounce through the planet and return. The earth listens to itself softly. These seismic echoes move in waves that wrap around the globe, slipping through mantle, crust, and core like whispers in stone. As they travel, they stretch and bend, refract and reflect, and some make the long journey back, looping across the planet's body like a slow breath returning home. These are not violent sounds. They are not heard with ears, only with instruments that wait patiently in the quiet. It's as if the earth is feeling its own heartbeat, gently pulsing through rock. After a large quake, the planet may hum for hours, even days. That hum is not a warning, not an aftershock, but the resonance of a living world responding to motion. Just as your body settles after movement, so too does the earth, softly, deeply, with long exhalations that ripple through time. And sometimes those echoes meet themselves, overlapping in the deep interior, passing like ghosts in ancient tunnels of stone. It's a reminder that nothing on this planet is truly still. Even silence holds motion. Even stillness carries memory. As you rest now, think of the earth listening to itself, not with worry, not with fear, but with awareness, with calm. Let your body mirror that quiet rhythm, a pulse beneath the surface, steady and low. The world turns, the ground settles, and everything continues in slow conversation. Nothing is rushing, nothing is loud, just a planet humming to itself in the dark. Glacial ice smooths even the roughest rock. In time, sharpness yields to grace. Ice, though cold and heavy, moves like a slow river, grinding, shaping, softening. It doesn't need speed to change the world. It moves with patience, with weight, with the quiet persistence of seasons layered into centuries. As glaciers slide across stone, they polish it like fingers on glass. Peaks become curves, edges become arcs. Entire valleys are carved by this frozen hand, not in years, but in lifetimes of snowfall. Beneath that pressure, rocks surrender their jagged pride. Even the strongest cliffs eventually bow to the hush of ice. And when the glacier retreats, it leaves behind a different kind of silence. Smooth stone that remembers the weight, lakes that fill the hollows, moraines that trace the glacier's vanished path. Nothing dramatic, just the softened echo of what once was. In the same way, your sharpness, your burdens, your worries, they too can be polished by time, not erased, but softened, weathered into something gentle, something new. As you lie still, imagine a slow breath of ice passing over your thoughts. Feel the roughness smooth, feel the edges round. The glacier does not hurry, and neither must you. Change happens slowly, and that slowness is sacred. So let go of urgency, let go of pressure, rest like a mountain beneath the snow, knowing that softness is coming, that time will shape you, gently, without rush. Just as it shapes the earth, ash is not just ruin. It falls, settles, and feeds the next generation of roots. When a volcano quiets after fire, the air is filled with dust that drifts downward like gray snow. But within that ash is life's memory, minerals broken down, unlocked, and scattered. When it rains, the ash seeps into soil, and then, almost imperceptibly, things begin to grow. Not right away, sometimes not for years, but slowly, quietly, the land becomes fertile again. Fields return, trees sprout, roots dig into the very thing that once destroyed, and in time, the ruins turn green. This is the paradox of Earth. Destruction followed by renewal, flame followed by bloom. The ash that once choked the sky becomes the bed for future forests. Even now, some of the world's richest soils, in valleys, on hillsides, in gardens, come from ancient eruptions long forgotten. So much of life is built upon past endings. So much beauty begins in dust. And just like Earth, you too carry ashes, moments that once burned, that once seemed final. But those ashes can feed you. They can become soil. They can become strength. As you lie here, feel that transformation. Let the old soften. Let it fall, settle, and return to the quiet places within you. You are not broken by what is burned. You are being prepared for something new to grow. The earth knows this, the forest knows this, and so does your breath. Deep, slow, and ready. One plate dives beneath another like a slow bow. This dance feeds volcanoes and sculpts trenches. Tectonic plates, vast slabs of Earth's crust, do not collide in chaos. They meet, press, yield. Sometimes, one slides gently beneath the other, disappearing into the mantle where heat and pressure wait. There, rock melts, magma stirs, and eventually fire returns to the surface in the form of volcanoes, not as destruction, but as creation. Other times, these subduction zones give birth to deep ocean trenches, places where the seafloor plunges into quiet darkness. All of it happens over lifetimes too long to witness, and yet the evidence is everywhere. Mountains formed, islands lifted, valleys carved. The world as we know it is the shape of this movement, and still, the plates continue to drift beneath your feet, shifting by inches each year. You don't feel it, but it's there. The earth adjusting, refining, renewing itself. Let that movement comfort you. Not all change is fast. Not all growth is visible. Sometimes the most important transformations happen slowly, beneath the surface, unseen. Just like the plates below, you are always shifting, always becoming. So if you feel stuck, remember this. The earth moves even when it seems still. It bends, flows, surrenders, and rises. You are part of that rhythm. Rest in it. Let go. Let gravity and time do their work. You are not alone in your becoming. The whole planet understands. What was once deep beneath waves is now skyward. Shells now lie above the clouds. These inverted seafloors, mountains made of marine memory, are places where the past has risen, slow and silent. Fossils of ocean creatures are tucked into peaks. curled in stone like whispers of another world. Once they drifted through saltwater light. Now they rest on ridges that scrape the sky. It happens when tectonic plates lift old seabeds upward, folding and pressing them into towering forms. What was once weightless now bears snow. What was once fluid is now frozen. And still, the shapes of shells remain, tiny spirals, smooth ridges, the delicate imprints of things that lived and died and drifted and returned. These peaks carry no bitterness, only memory, and the air around them is thin with silence. As you breathe now, imagine that transformation, from ocean floor to mountaintop, from drifting to rising. You too carry past versions of yourself. You too have memories pressed into your foundation. They are not burdens, they are fossils, proof that you've moved, that you've changed, that you've survived. Let them lie quietly inside you, like shells in stone. You are not who you were, you are who you became, and you are still rising. Let that be enough for now. Just breathe, just rest. The ocean is in the mountain, the past is in the present, and you are held gently in both. Some quakes bounce through the planet and return. The earth listens to itself softly. Like a deep sigh traveling through stone, seismic waves ripple outward from the point of origin, passing through layers of crust, mantle, and core. As they move, they reflect, refract, and bend around the inner structures of the earth, revealing the shape of what lies unseen. And sometimes they come back, echoes of motion from thousands of miles away, return like whispers, faint but still present. A planet hearing itself breathe. These echoes don't sound like thunder, nor do they shake the surface the way their first wave did. Instead, they pass beneath, inaudible, invisible, a memory in motion. Instruments record them, drawing curves and trembles on long, curling strips of paper. Scientists listen. The earth is not silent. It hums, it shifts, it remembers. Each quake leaves behind not just a mark, but a trail of echoes, a chorus of movement rippling through the sphere we call home. As you rest tonight, imagine that your body lies still on this living drum. Beneath you, the crust carries these waves like soft song. You are part of this quiet rhythm, the occasional tremble, the faint echo, the deep lull between. Even now, deep within the mantle, some vibration from long ago may still be passing through, moving slowly like a sigh through stone. Let yourself tune to that hum. Let your breath join the earth's, still slow, echoing softly in the dark. Glacial ice smooths even the roughest rock. In time, sharpness yields to grace. Imagine a boulder left behind at the base of a valley, jagged from its birth, rough from the cracks that first freed it. Then picture time moving forward in long, silent strides. Snowfall after snowfall, layers compressing, a glacier forms, slow, cold, immense. It begins to move, inching forward, dragging stone and ice across the valley floor. And as it glides, it polishes. Like a sculptor with infinite patience, the glacier presses rock against rock, grinding edges down, smoothing surfaces that once resisted touch. Millennia pass. The glacier recedes. What remains is not ruin, but refinement. Stones rounded like river pebbles. Valleys with walls so smooth they gleam in morning light. Even the hardest stones yield eventually to the gentle persistence of ice, and the memory of movement lingers in striations. Long, parallel grooves left like fingerprints. These polished rocks don't speak, but they carry a feel, a quiet history of touch. As you drift towards sleep, imagine the world not in flashes or force, but in long glides of silence. Let your mind become like one of those stones, once jagged, now smooth, shaped not by suddenness, but by patient softness. Let every breath glide over you, like ice over granite. Let the weight of the world pass gently over you, rounding the edges of your thoughts. Rest in that slow polish. Rest in time's tender smoothing. Ash is not just ruin. It falls, settles, and feeds the next generation of roots. When a volcano erupts, it seems like the end. Smoke, heat, fire reaching skyward, but what falls back down is a different kind of gift. Volcanic ash, rich in minerals, rains gently over the land, covering fields, forests, and valleys in fine gray powder. At first, it chokes, it blinds, it buries, but time knows how to wait. Beneath the ash, seeds stir, rain falls, microbes awaken. What once was molten now becomes cradle. The ash breaks down, blending into soil, nourishing it with elements plants crave: potassium, phosphorus, iron, and soon green returns, sometimes more vibrant than before. Fields grow thick, flowers bloom where fire once roared. In places like Iceland, Japan, and the slopes of the Andes, volcanic ash has created some of the most fertile farmland on Earth. Life after fire. As you lie still tonight, imagine that even the ashes of your hardest days carry something quiet and good, that what seems like ruin may become the soil of your next bloom. Like a valley under ash, you don't need to rush, you don't need to sprout immediately. The warmth and rest of darkness is also part of the cycle. Breathe into that silence, let it settle, let it soften. Something in you is preparing to grow, something gentle, something green. Even if you can't see it yet, the soil is changing, the roots are coming. Sleep in that promise. One plate dives beneath, another like a slow bow. This dance feeds volcanoes and sculpts trenches. Deep beneath the ocean and along the edges of continents, Earth's surface isn't still. It glides, presses, yields. Tectonic plates are massive, but they move in rhythm slower than thought, just inches a year. When one slides beneath another, a process called subduction begins. It's not violent in its pacing, but in its depth. The diving plate sinks into the mantle, melting as it goes. That melt rises again, forming magma, which one day may erupt as a volcano. Above, mountain ranges grow, sometimes imperceptibly, like stone breathing in reverse. Below, trenches open, deep scars in the seafloor where Earth folds inward. This is how continents shift, how coastlines change. It's a slow, grinding ballet, patient and unstoppable. Even now, under your feet, the land is not still. It drifts, creaks, stretches. You are resting on something ancient that is never finished, and like the plates, your thoughts may collide, overlap, dip below the surface. That's okay. Let some things subduct, sink away into the warmth of forgetfulness. Let new things rise slowly. You don't have to hold every continent together. Tonight, let the world move without you. Let the ground carry you, shifting softly while you sleep, a bow to rest, a surrender to slowness. Drift in the long, silent dance of stone. What was once deep beneath waves is now skyward. Shells now lie above the clouds. Walk through some of the world's highest mountains, and you may stumble upon a fossil, a spiral shell pressed into limestone, a coral branch frozen in stone. How did it get there? Thousands of meters above sea level. The answer is time, lifted. Long ago, these rocks were seabeds, resting quietly beneath oceans, collecting layer after layer of sediment. Tiny creatures lived, died, and fell to the bottom. their remains building up into soft layers of carbonate mud. Over millions of years, those layers hardened into rock, and then the world began to rise. Tectonic uplift pushed the ocean floor skyward, folding it, fracturing it, tilting it toward the sky. What was horizontal became vertical. What was underwater became summit. The seashell now sits where snow falls. The reef became cliff. The ocean became air. As you lie here tonight, know that change does not always mean erasure. The past can remain, reformed, relocated. Even in your highest moments, there may be remnants of where you came from, memories fossilized in new shapes. You are not separate from your depths. You are made of them, lifted. Let that bring you peace. Let that remind you that all movement, even upheaval, can reveal quiet beauty. Rest now. Let your breath be like stone rising slowly from the sea. Let the fossils dream beside you. From the core mantle boundary, giant upwellings rise, hot pillars that shift continents. These superplumes are not sudden or loud. They rise with the patience of eons, drifting upward like silent columns of breath from Earth's deepest interior. They carry heat from the planet's core toward the crust, spreading slowly beneath tectonic plates, nudging them, lifting them, and sometimes breaking them apart. The continents above may not notice, not for millions of years, but the signal is there, always rising, always pulsing. The mantle swells in places, and that swelling changes the face of the earth. Sometimes it creates vast plateaus. Other times it triggers volcanic chains, spreading centers, or oceanic ridges. These deep convective forces are part of the same slow rhythm that reshapes the surface again and again. And though unseen, their presence is profound. They remind us that the planet's stillness is an illusion, that beneath the calm, Earth churns with a quiet purpose. Even now, beneath where you rest, slow heat moves upward, weaving the next chapters of geology into being, not with urgency, but with inevitability. As continents drift apart or merge again, these deep molten breathings continue. So let yourself soften, knowing that movement doesn't always look like motion. Some forces are vast enough to be invisible. Some rhythms are slow enough to carry mountains. Let the thought of it cradle you, this vast planet, humming from its heart, reshaping itself gently under blankets of time while you sleep. Coal is blackened time, pressed forests, ancient wetlands, reduced to carbon dreams. What you hold in a piece of coal once fluttered as ferns, hummed with insects, and swayed in the humid air of swampy worlds. Trees fell season after season into still water, their remains layered and sealed in oxygen-poor silence. Over millions of years, pressure and heat transformed them, squeezing out water, concentrating carbon, compressing life into dense dark memory. Coal is the fossil shadow of a forest breath, a record not of bones or shells, but of entire ecosystems buried softly and rewritten in fire. It speaks of Earth's deep past, of dragonflies with wingspans like hawks, of mosses taller than men, of amphibians crawling over damp roots under a low golden sun. Coal is more than fuel. Its story, the quiet residue of thriving worlds that no longer exist. To burn it is to release that history, to unseal that ancient sunlight stored in leaves and bark. But tonight, we're not burning anything. We're simply remembering the swamps, the softness, the slow burial. So rest now, like the peat once did, blanketed by layers of time. Imagine the forest floor settling over you, leaf by leaf, until all sound fades, until even decay slows to a whisper, until you too are still enough to feel the weight of deep time pressing gently down. In that darkness, there is memory. In that quiet, there is warmth. Sleep as the ancient forests sleep, unhurried, low, and folded into the earth. Limestone can be built from skeletons, tiny lives combined into cliffs, coral polyps, plankton, mollusks, creatures small enough to float in water, to drift unnoticed, to vanish with a single current. And yet, together, over time, they build the bones of continents. When they die, their calcium-rich shells settle like snow, layering on the ocean floor. In warm, shallow seas, these remnants accumulate into thick beds. Then pressure and time press them into stone. What remains is a soft, white rock, porous, light, and full of secrets, a rock made of lives. Sometimes you can still see them. Spirals of ancient shells, echoes of coral branches, faint impressions of things once alive, the cliffs of Dover, the hills of Tuscany, the temples of ancient cities, all built, in part, from skeletons. There's something soft about that thought, that what endures is not just stone, but memory, assembled by the quiet work of multitudes. To lie near limestone is to lie with ghosts, not in fear, but in familiarity. You are surrounded by what once lived and what chose not to disappear. And like those creatures, you too leave traces, not only in stone, but in touch, in breath, in kindness. Let that comfort you. Let it soften you. You are not apart from time's layering. You are part of the sediment, part of the building, part of the slow and sacred accumulation. Sleep now, as shells do, surrendered to silence, becoming something more than yourself. It bulges at the equator. Earth wears its spin like a soft distortion. This planet we walk on, solid, dependable, is not a perfect sphere. It is slightly squashed, stretched gently outward at the middle by its own rotation, like clay spun on a potter's wheel. Earth's shape reflects its movement. The faster it spins, the more it pushes outward, just a little, just enough. This bulge isn't dramatic. You wouldn't notice it walking along a beach or climbing a hill, but it's there. Satellite measurements confirm it. Gravity adjusts for it. Oceans swell around it. Even time, subtle and precise, ticks a little differently depending on your latitude. Earth's shape tells us that even solid things respond to motion, that nothing is fixed. That stillness is rarely true. Everything spins, everything sways, even if slowly. And in that slow turning, beauty forms, from weather patterns to ocean currents, from magnetic fields to the very rhythm of day and night. Tonight, as you lie still, you are part of that spin. You may not feel it, but you are moving, carried eastward at hundreds of meters per second. And yet, there is no wind in your room, no rush in your ears, just calm, just rest. Because even movement, when smooth enough, feels like stillness. Let Earth's imperfect shape hold you now. Let its soft distortion cradle you. There's comfort in knowing even the ground beneath us is a little asymmetrical, spinning, stretching, and swaying like breath. Given time, glaciers move like rivers, solid yet fluid. It seems impossible that something so heavy, so massive, so seemingly frozen could flow. And yet they do. With enough pressure, even ice softens. Deep inside a glacier, below the brittle top crust, the ice becomes ductile, not liquid, but able to deform. It slides over bedrock, molds around obstacles, and surges forward millimeter by millimeter. These slow rivers of ice carve valleys, polish stones, and carry with them the memory of snowfall centuries old. They are ancient travelers, shaped by gravity and guided by time. Their movement is a whisper, a hush, a shifting weight that transforms mountains into bowls and hills into plains. Even now, as the world warms, they retreat not in panic, but in a slow unveiling. They do not scream, they simply recede. Glaciers remind us that change need not be fast to be powerful, that transformation can be silent, that flow can happen in forms we do not expect. So rest, knowing that even what seems immovable carries motion inside it, that stillness is not always the absence of change, but the slow unfolding of it. As you breathe in, imagine the cold weight of a glacier pressing forward. As you breathe out, feel the release, the melt, the trickle, the eventual stream. You too are in motion, even in sleep, especially in sleep. Let the glacier carry you now, like ancient snow finding its way back to the sea. Stone can wrinkle and ripple. The crust, under pressure, forms graceful arches. These arches stretch slowly, over millions of years, as if the earth were breathing in geological time. Picture the surface of a bedsheet pushed gently from the side. Waves form, soft and quiet. That's how folded mountains rise. Layers of ancient rock, once flat and silent, are pressed and lifted into motionless waves. Some folds are gentle, like sleeping hills. Others are sharp, jagged, peaks pointing upward, like frozen questions. These forms tell a story not of violence, but of persistence. The forces below don't shout. They lean, they press, they coax stone into flow. Under enough heat and time, even rock can behave like fabric. As you rest now, imagine these folds beneath you, deep below, invisible yet present, a slow, curling stillness in the bones of the earth. Above ground, these mountains cradle clouds. They hold snow in their creases. They shape the path of rivers and the shelter of forests. And still they shift, inch by inch, beneath your sleep. You are lying atop something ancient and moving, something that once lay flat at the bottom of a sea. Now it holds sky. Now it carries you. Let that gentle upheaval lull you. Let it remind you that even pressure can lead to beauty. Even stress can form soft arcs. There is a grace to what we survive, and tonight you are curled upon it, the quiet folding of time into place. Even the sea floor can slip, and when it does, the ocean sighs. Beneath miles of water, the sediments build, layer upon layer of fine silt, volcanic ash, and tiny crushed shells. They pile silently until they can no longer hold themselves together. And then, with no sound you can hear, they shift. It may be sudden, or it may be slow, like a yawn spreading through the deep. These underwater landslides can carry vast amounts of earth down continental slopes, stirring plumes of sediment into shadowy clouds. Some slides travel for hundreds of miles, reshaping the seafloor as they go. Entire valleys may be formed, invisible to our eyes, yet still the ocean covers it all, like a hush. In moments like these, waves can ripple across the sea's surface, tsunamis born from a whisper far below. But most of the time, these landslides remain unseen, unknown, unfolding in the darkness beneath pressure and tide. As you rest now, imagine the stillness of that world, a realm where silence is deep and movement is soft and unseen. The earth does not only tremble on land, it flows below the waves where ancient secrets settle. Drift there in your mind. Let yourself become sediment, resting and reshaping slowly. Let go as the seafloor lets go. There is release and surrender in sliding toward stillness. You are safe here, safe in the dark hush of the deep ocean floor, where even collapse becomes calm, where movement is part of the quiet, beauty born from force, carbon pressed and heated. becomes light captured in stone. Deep within the earth, where temperatures rise and pressure mounts, atoms begin to change their patterns. What was once soft, dark graphite reorganizes, its structure aligning in perfect clarity. Bit by bit, layer by layer, a diamond forms. Not in an instant, but over vast spans of time. Each crystal is a memory of pressure, a record of the world's hidden heat. And when it reaches the surface, pushed up by volcanoes or unearthed by careful hands, it glints, not with fire, but with stillness. Diamonds are the quiet result of relentless force, and you too hold that truth. The pressure you've endured, the weight you've carried, all of it shapes you. Not visibly, perhaps, but deeply. As you lie here now, let yourself soften into that thought that even the hardest things can create clarity. That beauty can be forged in the dark, under strain, without anyone watching. Imagine yourself as a crystal in the making, resting in heat, waiting for shape. There is no rush. Diamonds take their time. So can you. You are becoming, even in stillness, even in sleep. Let your breath slow. Let the warmth around you hold you, like the earth's mantle. No need to resist, no need to shine. Just be. And in time, something clear, something steady will rise in you. A quiet light born not of ease, but of depth. Cratons are the planet's oldest armor. They've survived every storm beneath. These vast slabs of ancient rock form the stable cores of continents, shields that have resisted the churn of plate tectonics for billions of years. While the world reshapes itself again and again, cratons remain unmoved at the center. Their roots reach deep into the mantle, anchoring land to time itself. They are made of memories, cooled magma, compressed sediments, old collisions turned still. Walk across some quiet plain, and you might be walking on a craton, on something older than the mountains, older than bones. As you rest now, feel the strength beneath you, the unshakable calm of something that has endured. These old stones do not hurry. They have nothing to prove. They just hold, and holding is enough. Let yourself be held. Let the weight of the day sink into this ancient steadiness. Like the earth's shields, you do not need to move to matter. You do not need to shine to be strong. You are allowed to rest, to stay, to be. Imagine the deep, cool rock beneath the crust, untouched for eons, cradling the whole world in its silence. That's what's beneath you now. Let it remind you that stillness can be powerful, that age is not loss, but wisdom, that you too can survive storms simply by being. Tonight, rest like a craton, unshaken, unmoved, quietly eternal. Pumice floats because it's filled with air, stone that once was foam. Formed from volcanic eruptions, pumice is born in fire, yet it rests on water. When molten lava meets air and cools quickly, it traps tiny bubbles inside itself, thousands of them. The result is a rock so light it drifts. It can ride the ocean for years, carried by currents, its sharp edges softened by the journey. Whole rafts of pumice have been seen floating between continents, silent and gray like islands adrift, and inside each one, a pocket of breath, a fragment of sky held in stone. As you breathe now, imagine those bubbles, small, quiet spaces inside you that hold lightness. You too can float, even with weight, even with fire in your past. There is air in you still. There is space. Let yourself rise on it. Let your thoughts become light, porous, gentle. The night carries you like the sea carries pumice. No need to steer, just drift. Let the warmth around you hold you like cooling lava. Let your breath expand like bubbles in stone. There is no rush to sink, no pressure to settle. Even the earth makes room for air in its heaviest moments, and you, like pumice, are a blend of strength and softness, a memory of heat now floating in quiet. Rest there, let it carry you, let it all go. Permafrost locks the past in ice, frozen soil holds seeds, bones, and microbes. Stories paused in cold, and in that pause, time drapes itself over memory like a blanket. In the far north, where silence lingers, between frozen roots and crystal air, layers of ancient earth remain untouched, preserving whispers from long before we arrived. A mammoth's wool, a flower's seed, even viruses that once stirred and slept. In this slow, deep freeze, the planet remembers, not in books or fossils, but in cold, compressed breath. The deeper you go, the further back you travel. Each meter a century, each crack a possible sigh from something forgotten. Permafrost is not just frozen dirt, it is a vault, a hushed archive that clings tightly to the details of long-vanished forests and tundra beasts. As the world warms, the vault loosens, and the past exhales. You may never walk those frozen landscapes, but tonight you drift alongside their secrets. Picture icy roots reaching through dark soil, holding tightly to time. Listen to the hush of cold wind brushing over stillness. Beneath your own stillness now, there is an echo of footsteps never taken, of summers long gone, of lives that once bloomed and vanished in silence. Let those echoes rise like mist across your thoughts. Let the past remain soft and unhurried in your mind. The permafrost holds what we are too quick to forget. And tonight, in your breath, your dreams carry the hush of what time once chose to keep. Even the seafloor can slip, and when it does, the ocean sighs. Silently, slowly, the weight of sediment builds along underwater slopes, soft grains resting on each other for thousands of years. But balance doesn't last forever. One moment, everything is still. The next, gravity wins, and the slope gives way, sending whole blankets of seafloor tumbling through the deep. These submarine landslides are colossal, yet almost invisible. No thunder, no warning, just a sudden shift in the undercurrent, a quiet bloom of silt rising through the black. It's not chaos. It's gravity's gentle reminder that even stillness moves. As sediment drifts and settles, new shapes form below, underwater dunes, buried valleys, walls of sand shaped in silence. In the world above, we rarely notice. Maybe a faraway wave grows slightly taller. Maybe a ripple of sound travels unnoticed across the sea. But down in the dark, the land has moved. Picture that vast hush now. Miles of ocean above, pressure all around. Then the shift, slow, enormous, soft. Let it remind you that not all change is loud, that sometimes the world remakes itself without a sound. Tonight, you float above ancient slopes, feeling the weight of stillness beneath you. There is no danger here, only the knowledge that even the quietest corners of the earth know how to move. So rest and let the currents carry your breath. Let your dreams drift like silt, and if the ground slips beneath you, may it be gentle, deep, and full of peace, beauty born from force. Carbon, pressed and heated, becomes light captured in stone. Beneath the surface of earth, far from air and sunlight, simple atoms arrange themselves in silence. Heat rises from the mantle, pressure bears down from the crust, and in this invisible crucible, the ordinary transforms. Black carbon, the same dust that smudges firewood or rides the wind, folds itself into symmetry. Layer by layer, it locks into place until a diamond begins to grow. It is not quick, it is not easy, but it is certain. In time, what was soft becomes enduring. What was dark becomes luminous. What was scattered becomes whole. Every diamond tells a story of waiting, of holding steady, while the world above forgets. And when at last it surfaces, cut, polished, admired, it still hums with the memory of that deep pressure. You too carry that potential. In your stillness, your waiting, your quiet endurance, something beautiful forms, not loudly, not suddenly, but through the slow layering of time and pressure. Tonight, as you breathe, imagine that transformation. Imagine your thoughts aligning like crystal lattices. Let them settle, lock in, and hold. Let pressure become clarity. Let heat become light. Not all beauty is born from ease. Some beauty is the record of survival, of what remained, what endured, what became luminous in the dark. You are resting inside that kind of story now. So close your eyes, let the weight above press gently, and know that even now, something rare is forming within you. Cratons are the planet's oldest armor. They've survived every storm beneath. These ancient cores of rock, cold, thick, and stubborn, lie at the heart of continents. They do not melt. They do not bend easily. They are the foundation stones upon which newer land piles up, like memories atop bone. Some cratons are over 4 billion years old, older than mountains, older than life. They have watched oceans open and close, glaciers come and go, forests rise and fall, all from beneath, in stillness. These shields do not speak, but they remember. In their silence, they anchor us. The continents we walk on drift like icebergs, but beneath, the cratons remain. They are the Earth's deep breath, the pause between pulses. When plates collide and the crust crumples, cratons endure. When magma floods and mountains crumble, cratons remain. You may never feel them beneath your feet, but they are always there, quiet guardians of the planet's shape. Tonight, as you lie still, imagine yourself resting on that ancient stone. Feel its immensity, its calm. Let your own breath match its rhythm. Slow, unmoving, certain. You are not drifting. You are not fragile. You are held by something that has seen everything and still stands. Let that weight ground you. Let it quiet your thoughts. There is no need to move quickly, no need to rise. Just rest, deep in the arms of Earth's oldest memory. A silence beneath silence, a strength that does not shout. Pumice floats because it's filled with air. Stone that once was foam, deep below the ocean floor, molten rock bubbles like boiling soup. When it bursts upward through a volcanic vent, it carries gas, little pockets of trapped breath from the Earth's interior. As it cools, that frothy mix of lava and air hardens instantly. The result is stone, but not dense. It's porous, light, almost weightless. It drifts on water like forgotten thoughts, soft and scattered. Entire islands of pumice can sail across the sea, guided by wind and wave, slowly breaking down, but never quite sinking. In your mind, picture that stone, full of holes, but not empty, fragile, but floating. It has been through fire, and yet it is light. Tonight, let yourself become a little like pumice. Let your worries bubble out. Let the pressure rise, then release. Let what remains be porous, breathable, able to float. There is strength in softness. There is endurance in the things that let go. The Earth's crust made this lesson from flame and gas. A stone that can ride the waves. A rock that remembers the sky inside it. You, too, are made of such contradictions. Heavy with memory, but still able to drift. Pressured by life, but still able to breathe. Let your thoughts become lighter now. Let your mind fill with tiny pockets of space, not absence, but air, the kind that lifts, the kind that carries. Tonight, you float. You are pumice, born from fire, resting on quiet tides. We've drilled kilometers down, yet barely scratched the surface. Earth keeps its secrets well. The deepest hole ever made by humans, just over 12 kilometers into the crust, is a pinprick in comparison to the thousands of kilometers that lie beneath. Imagine that, all our machines, all our effort, and still we remain in the thinnest skin of our planet. Below that, the pressure builds, the rock warps, and the temperature rises to unimaginable heat. The crust gives way to mantle, the mantle to molten iron. We theorize and model what lies deeper, but it remains unvisited, untouched, unknown, a mystery wrapped in shifting plates and ancient heat. And still we try, not to conquer, but to listen. Seismic waves give us echoes, volcanic eruptions bring up whispers, but the vastness of what lies beneath remains almost entirely uncharted, a realm where time is slow, where rock flows like syrup, where diamonds form and continents drift. So tonight, as you rest, remember that just beneath your feet lies a world you'll never see, a world of ancient heat and pressure, holding the memories of Earth's formation. The ground feels solid, but it floats on currents deeper than imagination. Let that thought settle you. You don't need to go far to feel awe. Even the ground beneath your bed is part of a mystery far greater than us. Sleep, knowing that Earth holds its story close, and that you too are resting on something deeper than you can ever dig. Entire worlds lie undiscovered beneath our feet, caves where no light, no foot has entered. They wind in darkness, unseen and untouched, sculpted by the slow breath of time. Water, dripping over centuries, carves cathedrals beneath the earth. Stalactites and stalagmites grow in silence, inch by inch, like stone fingers reaching for one another. Some caves breathe, exhaling cool air in summer, drawing it in come winter. Others lie so deep that not even sound travels the same. In these buried spaces, life finds a way. Pale insects without eyes, blind fish navigating by vibration, colonies of bacteria thriving in mineral-rich pools. They live in a different rhythm, untouched by seasons, unshaken by storms, and still, so many of these worlds remain hidden. Scientists discover new cave systems not by sight, but by sound, by slight changes in ground temperature, by the way air flows through cracks. Somewhere beneath your home, beneath forests and fields, there might be caverns that no one will ever enter, chambers echoing with silence, holding stories no one will tell. So as you drift to sleep, imagine the hush of those spaces, the way stillness wraps around stone, the way darkness feels not empty, but complete. Let yourself descend into that quiet. You are not falling. You are returning to the earth's secret places, deep, slow, and soft. There is no need to see them. It's enough to know they are there, waiting, patient, and full of peace. Under different light, some stones shift, as if remembering something else. A blue becomes violet, a red turns to gold. This isn't magic. It's a property called pleochroism, where a mineral displays different colors depending on the angle or the light that touches it. Even the most solid stones are not as fixed as they seem. Alexandrite glows green in daylight, ruby red in lamplight. Opal catches rainbows and scatters them in flashes. Fluorite can shimmer like ice or burn with lavender fire. These minerals remember the sun, remember the stars that once warmed them. Light speaks to them in ways we cannot hear. Deep in the earth, crystals grew under pressure and heat, but once brought to the surface, they begin to dance with photons, reflecting different moods depending on how they're seen. Just like us, they shift depending on the angle. They don't hide their changes, they wear them proudly. So tonight, if your thoughts change colors, let them. If memories appear one way now and another tomorrow, that's natural. Like the minerals, you are not just one version of yourself. You shimmer, shift, respond. You glow differently in sunlight and shadow. There's a kind of peace in knowing you are not fixed. You are a spectrum, a slow turning prism of moments. Let your mind refract now, not to understand, but to feel. Rest in the quiet spectrum between thoughts. And know that even stone is allowed to change. There is no final shape. The planet is a poem still being written. Continents drift, oceans rise and fall, mountains grow, then wear down grain by grain. Volcanoes reshape the sky, even deserts move. Everything is becoming even now. Plate tectonics push new seafloors into being. Ice melts, revealing land that hasn't breathed air for millennia. The Earth we know is just a version, one of many. Long ago, it looked entirely different, and in the deep future, it will shift again. Perhaps Africa will kiss Europe. Perhaps the Pacific will shrink into silence, but none of this is rushed. The Earth rewrites itself like waves smoothing shorelines, not to erase, but to transform. So too are you becoming. Your story is not finished, your edges not set. You are a process, not a product, and that's something to rest into. Tonight, as the world turns gently beneath you, know that nothing in nature stays still. Even the most ancient rocks were once molten. Even the tallest cliffs crumble into sand, and yet none of it is lost, just changed. So if you feel incomplete, unsettled, that's okay. You are Earth-like in your unfolding. Let go of the idea of being finished. Instead, float in the rhythm of change. Let the breath of time soften you. You are not behind. You are exactly where your next layer begins. The calcium in your bones was once ocean floor. You are geology in motion, resting between moments. Every cell, every breath, carries the legacy of the earth. Your blood mirrors the salt of ancient seas. Your breath cycles the carbon of long-gone forests. Your bones echo the limestone cliffs that stood for eons. You are not separate from the planet. You are its continuation, formed from the same dust, the same minerals, shaped by the same pressures. And just as rivers carve valleys, life has shaped you. The joys, the griefs, the quiet in-betweens. They are all part of your sedimentary story, layer upon layer, each one resting softly on the last. Even your dreams are part of it. They rise like mist from warm stone. You are not static, not a finished sculpture, but something still forming, like canyons, like coastlines, like clouds. As you lie here now, breathing slowly, you are participating in a story billions of years old. The earth cradles you, not as a guest, but as a child returned. You belong. You are part of the rock, the rain, the turning sky. So let go of weight that isn't yours. Let your thoughts settle like dust in still water. Feel the gravity that holds mountains also holding you. Sleep in the rhythm of stone and see, you are not drifting. You are home. You are Earth's memory, resting in its arms, waiting for morning.